need you need your Bible and your apocrypha for this lesson. Notice what I'm saying. You need your Bible. The apocrypha is the Bible. But you know that they separated our books. You need your apocrypha and your Bible for this lesson. The Feast of Dedication is primarily instructed from the apocrypha. Okay? We're going to show you tonight how the apocrypha has to be in the Bible. There's no getting around it. Because the Chanukah feast ordains that. This is something that the heathens have taken away from you. They got you celebrating Christmas, worshiping idols.
Kwanzaa.
They got some of you Jake celebrating Kwanzaa, worshiping with ham worship. Because they took away one of your mightiest feast days on the whole calendar. Okay? They took away one of your mightiest feast days. Alright? The chanakah represents when Israel had warrior blood. And we fought for our people and our laws. This is when the yoke was not treading us down. This is when we was resisting and standing strong. This day is important because this is where you get the history of your power. Okay? Somebody get Brother Naquam the gate code.
Yeah.
All right, that brother's here now. Good. Khan. Kwame Yashara.
Kwame Yashara.
All right? I want everybody to open their Bibles to Daniel chapter 8. We're going to get right into it. And hold that. Open it Daniel chapter 8 and have it ready and hold it. Okay? Daniel the mighty prophet got all types of wonderful visions. Okay? And the chanakah was one of his visions. We're going to show you that. How he had a vision of one of the mightiest feast days, showing you not only is the Bible a true book, but the Bible is so true, they had to take that away from you. Because you can't get around this. This is real history. This is why for the Chanukah lesson, you got to get your pen and your pad. You can't leave this lesson not knowing this information. Khan.
Okay.
All right? What does Chanukah mean? Chanukah means to dedicate. Dedication. So what we had you saying was Ashar Chanukah. Happy dedication. Feast of dedication. You can say Yawam to make it more full. Ashar Yawam Chanukah. You understand? This is the Feast of Dedication. You have the imposter Jews, they call it the Festival of Lights. Okay? You got them celebrating your feast day, calling it by a name that doesn't really speak to what it really means. Because this is the prophecy fulfilled that our temple will be clean and rededicated to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That's a prophecy that Daniel saw. Okay? They got it about lighting candles and the candles stay lit and we didn't have enough oil but the candles stay lit. That ain't in the Bible.
Right. It's a Talmud.
They not supposed to have your book. The Bible says, what business does the heathen have taking my covenant until somebody find that? Somebody get that. Who can find that? Adrian is the Psalms expert. Who can find that precept? Why would the heathen take my words into his mouth? Get that precept. Because this is what happens when somebody else teaches you your history. Do you know the Chanukah lesson is going to teach you how the white man took your jewelry and he became the Jew? That's in this lesson.
50:16.
Call it out.
Psalm 50:16, I think. Sure.
Pull it. Because we're not rushing through this lesson. This is the most important history, I think, in my opinion, this is some of the most important history we have as Israelite men and women. Is the Chanukah lesson. Okay?
Yeah, okay, I got it.
Call it.
This is Psalm chapter 50, verse 16.
Read it loud.
But unto the wicked God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?
Look, the Most High said, what do you have, what business do you have taking my covenant into your mouth? Because as soon as they got a hold of this prophetic feast day, they turned it into their version of Christmas. They turned it into some miracle about oil lasting, and then they put more branches on the menorah than it's supposed to have. Because when you go into the Bible, the menorah is only 7 candlesticks. Completion. The Most High deal with completion. All of a sudden, they got 8 and 9 candles. That's what happens when the heathen takes our covenant into their mouth. This is why it's so important that y'all return to your heritage as Israelites. You got to come back to this. You jakes that see us in the street, we try to get on your level. We strive with you all day to help you get this. Not because of our own glory. If you watch our videos, we don't be shooting for the glory. We don't got a lot of cuts and cutting and brutal. Well, you know how brothers title the videos when
Send them up the block.
Yeah, send them up the blocks. We got a lot of videos where people leave comments like, why are you still talking to that nigga?
Right.
And what we say, because we want him to get it. The best news we found out is that we God's chosen people, and we want them to learn that too. So we'll talk to the one brother all day till the sun go down, because maybe he get it. The more,
Do you want the 7 candlesticks in Revelation?
hold that. Get it. Don't get in Revelation. Get the 7 candlesticks in the Old Testament.
You want Exodus?
So we're gonna carry on with this lesson. First thing y'all been taught is what Chanukah means. The Feast of Dedication. Now, when did this happen? What era did this happen? That's where the history comes in. Because first, before you can rededicate a temple, what has to happen to your temple? It has to be profaned. The holy house of the Lord has to be made gross. You understand? You can't rededicate something that's already dedicated. The dedication has to be removed. Now we enter into the history of how you lost your heritage as an Israelite. This is where it happened. This is when the heathen came in and took your heritage. Turn to Daniel chapter 8, and I want to start at verse 3. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 3. I need a good reader, strong, loud reader, clear reader. Daniel chapter 8, verse 3.
Got it.
And different brothers can read if they want.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 3.
Bring it out.
Then I lifted up my eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
This is a hard saying. This is a dark saying. What is Daniel talking about? He saw a ram that had 2 horns, and one horn was taller than the other. Okay? And the higher came up last. Daniel's not talking about a deformed ram. That's an angel showing Daniel a similitude of something that he's not going to live to see. Future prophecy. You understand? This represents the Persians and the Medes. Write that down. Daniel chapter 8 verse 3, the vision of the ram with the 2 horns, where the one horn came up higher than the last. That is talking about the Persians and the Medes. Shalom, Ak.
Shalom, sir.
Your shirt right there. Y'all salute that man. Brother Naquam on the scene. Shalom. Okay? Keep reading, Ak.
Verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great.
In the ancient day, the Persians and the Medes was one of the mightiest fighting armies there ever was. They had millions of soldiers. Not thousands, not 300. They had millions of soldiers. This is real history. Listen, you cannot say the Bible's not a real book, because as you watch this prophecy unfold, this is real history. Real history. It's no getting around it. You're going to be confounded. Like, the Most High literally showed Daniel how it's all going to go down. And he did it with visions of rams. Okay? And different beasts. Instead of the Most High trying to write a 1,000-page book about how all of this is going to play out, he showed it to him in the similitudes, easy to understand, that you could digest in 1 or 2 verses. That's how the Most High is a mastermind. He can do anything. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua.
By Shem Mashiach.
Read verse 4 again.
Verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him.
So when it says no beast might stand before him, the beasts represent nations. There was no nations that could stand against the Persians and the Mede when they was in their rulership. Esau tried to show you that. He told you a half-truth when he showed you the movie 300. Because Xerxes was a real king. Xerxes had the largest fighting force in recorded history. But what were they? They was farmers. Okay, give the man a check. They was farmers. Okay? They was blacksmiths. What Xerxes did was he spread his power northward, southward. Nobody could stand in his way, but he didn't have real warriors. So guess what? When you got all these numbers, but you're not real warriors, what did Esau try to show you in 300? They're not real warriors. So when they come against some guys that know how to handle a blade and a shield, what's going to happen to your thousands of foot soldiers? They're going to get cut down. They're going to get finished. That's how they lost their power. Because if you're the mightiest beast and no one can stand in your way, then how would you ever fall out of grace? Or how would you ever fall out of power? Because Xerxes did not have, the Persians and the Mede rulers, the Elamites, they did not have true fighting warriors. They had elite men, but the majority of their army was just civilian people. Read verse 5.
Verse 5. And as I was considering, behold, and he goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth.
Come on.
And touched not the ground.
You got to read this again from the top, because the people don't understand. The Most High is explaining history to you that you cannot get around. And he's using beasts to describe it. Read it again. Read it nice and strong, clear.
And as I was considering, behold, and he, goat, came from west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
Now you're talking about a he-goat that moves so quickly his feet don't touch the ground. And he got a horn between his eyes. You give this to an Egyptologist and he says, we're bugging out. What are you reading?
Right.
You give this to an atheist, he says, y'all got to be out of your mind. You reading this book? You still believe in this? You talking about he-goats, a unicorn goat? No. The Most High is using dark sayings and parables. Can you get that in Proverbs? How you got to understand the scriptures? The Most High is using dark sayings and parables to teach you true to life world history that had not happened yet. Verse 5 is talking about Alexander the Great. Write that down. Daniel 8 and 5 is talking about Alexander the Great. We're going to explain it. Daniel never heard of Alexander the Great. This is Daniel. Yeah, Babylonian under Nebuchadnezzar in them. Okay? He's a eunuch in the house. But the Most High says, Daniel, I'm dealing with you. I'm going to give you some of the mightiest prophecies nobody can get around. You're gonna come to find out that Ezra got this same prophecy. You're going to come to find that out. Ezra got this same prophecy. Why would the Most High show Daniel something different than he showed Ezra? Ain't they both the prophets? Right? So you're going to see that Daniel chapter 8, what's up? You're going to see that Daniel chapter 8 verse 5 is talking about Alexander the Great. Eliel, when you get that precept, bring it out. It's Proverbs chapter 1. And it's talking about how the instruction of the wise. Because the Most High is teaching with dark sayings right here, y'all. He's talking about a he-goat that's feet didn't touch the ground. What does that mean? Because if you ask me what a goat does, it's all about his feet touching the ground. Because goat can walk on all types of hills. Goats can climb trees. Goats can walk on the side of a mountain and lick the salt off. So what you mean a goat whose feet don't touch the ground? Read that precept. Proverbs chapter 1. Starting at verse 3.
This is Proverbs chapter 1 verse 3.
Read.
To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equality, and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning.
Uh-huh.
And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel.
Verse 6 is what I want. Come on.
To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings.
To understand a proverb and their dark sayings. Read it again, out.
To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings.
You need wisdom to understand these scriptures, man. That's why the Most High said, what business did a heathen have taken my word into his mouth? They're going to take my chanakah and turn it into the Feast of Lights. They're going to add a folklore myth to it. And then they're going to put too many candelabra stands where when my people want to go buy a menorah, they can't even get the one they want. Because they got 8 and 9 candles on it. That's what happened when the heathen get it. When the heathen get your book, he think you're talking about dinosaurs and Godzilla. What you mean a ram with 2 horns? And what you mean a goat whose feet didn't touch the ground? Listen, Alexander the Great. Write this down, y'all. Alexander the Great came into rulership in 336 BC to 323 BC. He is known as one of the greatest military geniuses to ever live. He created one of the largest empires in the world, the fastest in recorded history. That's why it says a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole world. Talking about not the west where we at, far west, right? And touch not the ground, because he moved so quick. He took over so fast. It's his feet didn't touch the ground. You see this? You see the Hebrew slang? He ruled from Greece to India and was undefeated in battle. He is one of history's most successful commanders. That's why the Bible said the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. This is somebody to take note of, because Alexander the Great was that horn. We know that horn means strength or power. The horn coming out of the goat, that basically Esau, that notable Edomite is Alexander the Great. And I call him Alexander the weirdo, the creep.
Right.
Okay? The elders call him Alexander the freak, because he was bugged out. And when I went into the history doing this lesson, I discovered some things. Alexander, one of his first battles was against a boy-loving army, where they was actually notoriously homosexual man lovers that secluded themselves, but they was like a great military fighting force. That's one of the first people that he conquered and destroyed. That's what was going on out there, man. Without this Bible, that's what Esau was doing with the world. He was becoming boy-lover warriors. What? There's a whole bunch of Conans hugging, man.
That's crazy.
That's off. But Alexander the Great was a military genius who rose to power the fastest that anybody's ever seen in recorded history. And that's why verse 5 reads how it reads. Read it one more time, Mark, so that people understand. Yep.
Verse 5. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
Look how awesome the Most High is. Look up here, y'all. Alexander the Greek is depicted with horns. Look what they did. Listen, y'all gotta understand this. The Most High is a mastermind. He prophesied about the man as a he-goat. He called the man a notable horn. His own people, without the knowledge of this Bible, depicted him with horns. How can you get around this? The Most High is telling you who he's talking about. Alexander the Freak. He got horns in all of his commemorative coins. Look, I'm not making it up. This is Esau's history. Look, the man got horns. That's how they depict them. Read verse 6.
Verse 6. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns.
The Persians and the Medes, come on.
Which I had seen standing before the river.
Come on.
And ran unto him in the fury of his power.
He conquered Greece to India. India is who? Elam, the Persians and the Medes. The he-goat ran to the ram. The ram is the Persians and the Medes. Alexander defeated them and took their land and conquered them. Read on.
Verse 7. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him.
Yeah, he hated the ram. He wanted the power. Come on.
And smote the ram.
Killed them. Took down the Persians and the Medes. Defeated them. Come on.
And brake his 2 horns.
And defeated them. Come on.
And there was no power in the ram to stand before him.
Come on.
But he cast him down to the ground.
Come on.
And stamped upon him.
Come on.
And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
When Alexander came into power and he was conquering, he had ideas on how to break the numbers of the Persians and the Medes. Esau wrote all this down. His military strategies is still relevant. Okay? They have so many numbers, but they spread too wide. Alexander set his men up in a wedge formation, and they attacked the center of his formation. They broke the strength of the center of their formation and killed all the archers in the back. Now there's 2 sides flanked, but guess what? Together, y'all are the same number of men as the guys that split you in the middle. Together, but this is war. You're on that side. What do you see where you standing? A whole bunch of brothers. That's a whole bunch of Edomites that's deeper than you are, right? You are on this side, and you're looking at the fighting force. What do you see? A whole bunch of Edomites that's deeper than you. You can't even see your guys on the other side. So what happened? They fled. He caused them to retreat. It says he stamped them to the ground, and there was no one that could deliver. That's what kind of fighting genius this devil was. What was his gift? What the Most High blessed Esau with?
Sword.
What he said he was going to do, how was he going to rule the earth?
He's going to take the fat of the earth with the sword.
With his what?
With the sword.
So why you think he wouldn't be a military? The Bible is telling you everything. The Bible is breaking it all down. But guess what? The prophecies was given to Israel. That's why we can understand these scriptures. The unlearned is still back at verse 3 trying to understand, well, what does a ram have to do with anything? They don't get it. Read verse 8, Ak.
Verse 8.
Come on.
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great.
And then Adrian, you read next. Come on.
And when he was strong, the great horn was broken.
What happened?
The great horn was broken.
Come on.
And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Now don't get confused what's being read here. Don't get confused what's being read here. We're not talking about the Persians and the Medes anymore. See, these horns can get confusing because the goat got a horn, the ram got 2 horns. Slow down. The he-goat waxed very great. Alexander the what?
Great.
The Bible telling you everything. The Bible is explaining it all. But when he was strong, the great horn was broken. Alexander fell ill, he died. What happened? 4 generals came behind him and split the kingdom. The Macedonian kingdom. Macedon. They split the kingdom. And then they all took power in different places. Hold on. We're going to tell the people who it is. Alexander's 4 generals. Daniel 8 and 8 is talking about Alexander's 4 generals. He died, and his men behind him, they each was his confidants. They was right next to him. We're going to learn their names. And why you need pen and pad, man? Because these is real people in history, and the Bible is already telling you about them without even saying their names. That's why the Bible said what? In the latter days, knowledge will increase, right? So guess what? You are now knowing things that Daniel never got to learn. He didn't know what he was prophesying about. His job was to just bring the prophecy. Now we know who he was talking about. You see that? That's the Kwame Yashara. That's the beauty of the scriptures. Number 1. First ruler that came out. Well, first let's get the name of them. They was called the Diadochi. The Diadochi. Alright? I got it up here on the screen. Diadochi. Alright? It means successors. These are the men that came up. Look at their kingdom. If you look at that map right there, look how wide their kingdom was. If you look at that map right there, let me get that. Look how wide their kingdom, their rulership was, right? Macedonia is right there. By Greece. That's where the he-goat came from. But look at what he took. That's a lot, man. Foot soldier war, man-to-man combat war, that's a lot to control. Okay? That's a lot. It's called the Diadochi. It means successors. Okay? Y'all got that written down on the conference call, I hope. And at home, I hope. The first one was called Ptolemy the First. From 323 BC to 282 BC. Guess what happened? What did he do? Ptolemy, guess what that means? When the white man come and tell you now that the pharaohs was white, and he tell you the Egyptians look like how they do in the movies, Mark Anthony and them, and they put the eyeliner on them and they be white boys, and you be in the movie mad, like you're not even an Egyptian, but you still mad. Like, what the hell is this? Can we be black in a movie at least? You get your pride flare up, even though you don't even claim the Egyptian. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But guess what? It was a time where the white man was out there deep, man. Eliel said, "God, all right, out there freaking off, changing the hieroglyphs to the way he wanted, whitewashing some of them, breaking the noses off of some of the prior pharaohs,
Making their own statues.
making their own statues." And then so the white man today can sit up there, the Egyptians were white people. I don't know why you think they were. You black people are just sub-Saharan Negroes. You didn't build anything. You were living in mud. No. This is when that happened. Because under Ptolemy the First, Egypt became Hellenized. What that word mean? Eliel.
Hellenization is basically when the oppressors, which were the Greeks, who spoke like a Hellenistic language, forced that language and the customs that came with it upon the people who they took into slavery.
Ah. Then you get something like, what do you call it? The Rosetta Stone. It got Greek on it. It got hieroglyphs on it. It got, I think, Domitian or the what's the other language?
Venetian.
I don't think so. It got a D. It escapes me right now, but that's not important. But it escapes me right now. Y'all can look that history up. But that's when the Ptolemies was over there, blending Greek philosophy and their gods. Okay? That's when Alexandria was founded. Alexandria wasn't always in Egypt. Alexander the Great set that up. And then Alexandria became an epicenter of Greek culture in Egypt. Right? They started telling you that they had the knowledge. Oh, forget the times when Pythagoras and all them brothers had to go to Egypt to learn something. No. The white man telling you, hey, we got the knowledge. We had the knowledge. No, that didn't happen until 323 BC. Recently. Okay? And guess what else came out of Ptolemy's Egypt? Y'all ever heard of Serapis? You heard of Serapis? Who's that?
I don't remember what it was, but I heard it.
Serapis is who the Egyptologists will tell you that we base Yahushua on. They'll say, oh, that's where you get your Jesus from. Serapis. Right? I'm only dealing with one of the successors. And he did all this. He brought all this in. Serapis is based on, mute your phones on the...
Salaki, we asked everybody on the call to mute your phones while we're on the call.
Serapis is based on 4 different gods. And that's the white boy Jesus. You got the image, right?
That's crazy.
Oh, we're bringing it out tonight, man.
It says it's a Greco-Egyptian deity.
Oh, what?
Greco-Egyptian deity.
Do that even sound right? Greco-Egypt. Look at the man. Get the image right up there. You see it? Look at him, man. That's Serapis. He's based on Dionysus, the god of merriment and liquor. He's based on Osiris, who they try to say that we stole Jesus from. No, we ain't dealing with Serapis. Y'all was dealing with Serapis, who's not even your. And look, the Egyptologist is proud, claiming that that's their deity. It's not. That's a Greco-Egyptian deity. Ptolemy brought you that. Okay, he's based on a bull god. Okay, he's based on Hades also. He's a collective of God attributes in one. He's like a multicultural God that Ptolemy the First, from 323 BC, brought in to Egypt. That's how you got all this. One man's wickedness brought all that. But it gets better. You got another man that came out, another successor. His name is Cassander. Cassander is from 350 BC to 297 BC. Write this down. These people really existed. Studying their history tells you who the Israelites are. It's the pieces to the puzzle. They will have you believe that you're just a slave in America and that's all you ever was. No, our history is so deep, they had to set people up to hide it from us. You understand? Cassander became king by murdering Alexander's son. Now think about that for a second. This is your successor who's going to come into power after you die. And what did he do? As soon as you hit the grave, he killed your son so he could take power. Guess what city he created? Thessalonia. He named it after his wife. What book we got in the Bible that go with that? So who is them people? The Thessalonians, that's not, they would have you believe that them people is Edomites from somewhere that been living there. No, he named that area Thessalonia. Our people was there. You understand? That's one man that did that. And you got a book in the Bible called Thessalonians. And one of my favorite scriptures out of Thessalonians is 1 verse 6. Alright? It's a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense trouble to them who trouble you, man. Tribulation to them who trouble you. Read that. Whoever want to get it. This is Cassander. He did that. Somebody read that. Cassander is Cassander. All we dealing with right now is Daniel 8 and 8. That's it. Go ahead, Op.
This is the second book of Thessalonians 1 and 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
Yup, and that's why brother Canal is always in the video showing you that brother with his back whipped up, and he's always saying, my Edomite's gonna look like this. Because he's going off that scripture. You got your third successor. His name is a little hard to pronounce. It's called Lysimachus. Lysimachus. Alright? He's from 361 or 355 BC. It's disputed. Okay? He was the king of Macedonia. He basically took on Alexander's domain where he ruled. Because Ptolemy went to Egypt and Cassander had parts of Greece and even named areas for himself and his wife. But then Lysimachus was up there where in Macedon where Alexander was ruling from. He wanted that area.
When does this reign end?
His reign ended in 281 BC. King of Macedonia from 288 BC to 281 BC. Okay? Now, what?
I was going to say, you said, 355.
No,
that was disputed before 361.
That like when he was born.
Oh, the reign was,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
It's like, I should make that clear. Okay? Now these three men, yeah, they wicked as hell, and the Most High ain't dealing with them, and they brought all types of foolishness into the earth, but they didn't necessarily directly affect the Israelites like this next one. This next brother, I keep saying brother. This next heathen's name is Seleucus. S-E-L-E-C-I-U-S. Seleucus.
Or Seleucus.
Seleucus?
Yeah.
You say it like that?
That's
I'm saying it like
what-
I'm saying it like you're from the hood, right? Like Seleucus.
Solutions.
Okay, Seleucus. Okay, Con. Seleucus.
How you spell it?
But when you say it in plural, it's Seleucus.
Yeah.
So Seleucus.
That's how the white boy that taught it to me last semester said. I learned about them last semester at the Greek thing at Georgia State.
Okay.
I took the class.
Okay.
They called him Seleucus.
Seleucus. Okay. Same difference because he's same wicked.
Yeah. But
All right.
yeah, Seleucus. So you might be right. It could be Seleucus.
Now, he was one of the key generals who helped Alexander the Great conquer the Persians and the Medes. This is the real warlord right here. This is that dude like when you watch war movies, he's the dude on the horse in the front that don't really have to be out there, but he's out there anyway. All right? He was a true warrior. His history is that he was a ruthless warlord. Ruthless. Okay? He funded the Seleucid dynasty, and out of him comes a super demon. But we're going to hold that. All right? So what you just read was Daniel 8 and 8. The four generals, the Diadochi, Ptolemy, Cassander, Lysimachus, and Seleucus. Those are the four generals. Okay? Those are the four ones that came from the four winds of heaven. The Bible just told you real history. These is real men that existed that came out of that notable one, which is Alexander the Great. It happened exactly like the Lord said. Okay? Now, you're going to read something. Give me Daniel 8 and verse 9. Brother Adrian.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 9.
Come on.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn,
Come on.
which waxed exceeding great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
Towards the pleasant land. What would be the pleasant land? That would be where we are. Read it one more time.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south, toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
Come on.
Verse 10. And it waxed great.
Hold now. Hold that right there. Get your apocrypha. Who we talking about?
Alexander.
No.
Oh, you said it works?
We're going to tell you.
Antiochus.
This, nope. Don't tell the people yet. See, my brothers is thirsty for this knowledge. I hope y'all thirsty for this knowledge out
Is it
there.
the first Maccabees chapter 1?
First Maccabees chapter 1. Yeah, y'all know. We're going to make all these scriptures that you read before come to light. How many times we read these scriptures showing you that they changed the images, that they didn't let you be a Jew? How many times we read these scriptures? Now you're going to see who did that, who these people were. So out of one of the four came this little horn, but he became great. His name is Antiochus Epiphanes. Okay? Antiochus Epiphanes. We're going to get spiritual now. You got your, everybody got their, hey, on the phone. Y'all got your apocryphas? Oh, they got their phones muted. Okay. Can y'all hear us clear? Y'all can hear us clear? All right. All right, go back on mute. Go back on mute. Read verse 9 again and read verse 10.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 9.
Bring it out.
Out of one of them came forth a little horn,
Read.
which waxed exceeding great,
Come on.
toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
When the Bible used that terminology, it means he also had a kingdom that expanded in all directions. That's what he's saying. Read on.
Verse 10. And it waxed great,
Read.
even to the host of heaven.
Even to where?
To the host of heaven.
Now he said the pleasant land was Israel. Who's the host of heaven? That's us. Come on.
And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
Now where have we seen that terminology before? The stars being pulled to the ground. Say it loud.
Revelation 12.
Read it. Revelation 12 and 4. Show the people. See, the Bible is giving you the secrets, but y'all don't want to read it. Y'all want to go to church and have Joshua, what's his name? Don't even say his name. Don't even say his name, unconscious. The man got Michael Jackson jackets on and he's moonwalking. Y'all want to see that? That's what y'all want to see. Y'all don't want to learn the scriptures. The Bible is unlocking the secrets of history. All you got to do is study it. Revelation 12 and 4. Read.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 4.
Come on.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
Same as what he's saying in Revelation, Daniel. Go ahead.
And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered.
And the woman is Israel. Them stars being dragged to the ground. That's Israel, the 12 tribes. The 12 stars in her crown. Go back to Daniel, man. Read verse 10 one more time. We're going to get precepts.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 10.
Read.
And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven.
Who is the host of heaven?
Israelites.
Prove it. Go to Exodus 12 and 41. We're not just saying this stuff, y'all. The Bible says it. But the Most High is showing us the scriptures. He's taking the clay off our eyes, the scales off our eyes, so we understand what the scriptures is actually saying. You got it? Read.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 41.
Read.
And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day it came to pass, that all the host of the Lord went out of the land of Egypt.
So that's talking about the Israelites. We the host of heaven.
That's
the
right.
host of the Lord. We them stars that was dragged to the ground in Revelation. Y'all see the scriptures? Everybody understand? First Maccabees 1. Read verse 9. No. First Maccabees chapter 1. And I want you to start at 6. Because if we really read it like we're supposed to read it, you start at 1 and you read all the way to the end of the Apocrypha. That's what the Maccabees is. It's the true history of how the Israelites lost their heritage. There it is. If you move that Bible, that wax is gonna fall on that Bible. Oh, that's okay.
Thank you.
It'll come off.
I wasn't tripping on that.
That's beautiful. Now, the book of Maccabees will tell you exactly how you stopped being the real Jew and Esau became the real Jew. But people don't want to read Maccabees. I swear, man, like the Most High is said, seek ye out of the book and read. None of these shall fail. So the Most High is telling you history right now. That's why we got to have this chanakah service. That's why it's so important, all right, to take your heritage back. The heathen will have you hating your own holidays or just not observing them. But we taking it back, y'all. I want you to read 1 Maccabees 1 and 6. Read it loud and strong.
The first book of Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 6.
Bring it out.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them.
See, that's talking about Alexander the Great. His 4 servants was his 4 successors that he had known since his youth. They was brought up with him, especially Seleucus. And they parted his kingdom. They split his kingdom up. We just read that. We didn't read the Bible. We did history to show you that. But the Bible just told us who these people was. Read on, verse 7.
Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years.
Come on.
And then died.
Come on.
And his servants bare rule, every one in his place.
You had Ptolemy in Egypt. You had one in Thessalonica. You had one in Macedonia. Okay? You had one in Greece. You understand? They each one ruled in their own place. Come on.
Verse 9. After his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
We just read that. Seleucus was a king. Lysimachus was a king. Ptolemy was a king. Cassander was a king in his own right. Come on.
So did their sons after them.
And that's what happened with this little horn that came out to the pleasant land. That's Antiochus. He's the son after Seleucus. That's who Antiochus is. He's the son of Seleucus. He's not directly his son, but he's down that line. There was Antiochus before him. That's why they give him a surname, Antiochus Epiphanes, so that you can know which one we're talking about. All right? Read on.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Yeah, because one brought you Serapis. Okay? The other, he over there in Egypt, Hellenizing Egyptians, the Hamites, like telling them that they're going to be Greek now. Okay? You got one that's murdering Alexander's son. Okay? You got one that's a ruthless warlord. They're telling you that evil's multiplied in the earth because of the 4. You cannot get around this history. Read on.
Verse 10.
Come on.
And there came out of them a wicked root.
And look. And out of one of them came forth a little horn. Read on.
Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes.
Come on.
Son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome.
Come on.
And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Read.
Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
Here we go.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
How many times have we read this scripture? Now you know why that was said. Antiochus, the mad king. The Israelites want to get a free pass. That man was putting all types of wickedness into the kingdom, and Israel was trying to get out of there with a free pass. Like, you know what? Let's go join them. Because what happens if you didn't join Antiochus? What is something? You're going to find out if you don't join Antiochus what he's going to do to you. Read on, brother.
Verse 12. So this device pleased them well.
Read.
Verse 13. Then certain of the people was so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
And that's what our people love to do. Jake want to be wicked to get a pass. It's hard to follow the commandments. We've been going off forever. Since we came out of Egypt, we've been wicked. Subject to sin. But one of the easiest ways to go off is when you're afraid of persecution. So you join with the heathen. Read on now.
Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the custom of the heathen.
They gotta keep it down. Hold on. This gotta come out. You don't gotta get up. I mean, can somebody handle that? They gotta be quiet. Or they gotta maybe go upstairs. Okay, read it again, Doc.
Verse 13.
Yeah.
Then certain of the people was so forward therein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
Read.
Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the custom of the heathen.
So it's because the heathen was into the Olympic Games and all them type of games and all them challenges. Okay? The word gymnasium comes from the word gymnos, which basically means naked. Okay? This is the society that was going on. And Jake is standing right there. I want to be down with this. You understand? We always want to do that. What about Dwight Howard? Look at him. Look at him. So you think he wasn't there in the past? It wasn't brothers like him want to be sweet and play booty games? It's the same spirit in the earth, man. Read on.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
We made ourselves uncircumcised in heart and in the flesh, to do as the heathen. You understand? This is when you stop being an Israelite. This is when you became a Gentile. This is when the connection of who the true Israelites are faded and dissipated, and it was up for grabs because you wanted to become uncircumcised. It would have been easy to know who the true Jew is based on our customs, our behavior, our clothing. But what did Jake do? Jake wanted to do what? He wanted to do what the heathens was doing. Y'all got something?
You found who Alexander the Great's little boy was, because you talked about him being Alexander the Freak.
You gotta talk loud, huh?
You talked about how Alexander was like known to the elders as Alexander the Freak.
Yeah.
And you know how the Greeks had a custom of pederasty.
Yeah.
Well, Alexander had a little boy too. His name was Hephaestion. And
Bring it out.
I guess the Ak found him. He said he was one of like Alexander's closest people. I mean, obviously, because that was the boy he would get with after they celebrated and stuff.
Yeah, he was his pleasure boy?
He was like an apprentice.
Oh, yeah.
He was like
That's what they called him. That's what apprentice means.
Apprenticeship.
Apprentice means pederast. You know, the kid that you have sex with.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at
That's
Da
the
Vinci and
etymological
them,
definition.
like Da Vinci and them had apprentices, little boy.
Right.
When you look at Donatello's statue of David, it's just a little pre-adolescent boy, butt naked. Somebody had to stand and pose for that.
Right.
So that little pre-pubescent boy had to stand there for hours as Donatello was just looking at him naked like, oh my God, you're just like King David. No! That's how you look, Israel. You lost your heritage to these people because you was afraid of the persecution coming down from Epiphanies, man.
That's right.
That's how it happened. Read on, Doc.
Verse 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms.
Come on.
Verse 17. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants, and horsemen,
Come on.
and a great navy,
Come on.
and made a war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death.
Come on.
Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof.
Read.
And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year,
Come on.
and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude.
Now they come for us. But Jake said, I'm going to be ready because I'm already uncircumcised. I'm wrestling naked. I'm just like this. I'm worshiping their God. Where's Serapis at? Where Hades at? I'm down with that. I'm a Greek too. Thinking that they could get away from what was coming to make themselves like the heathen. Most High ain't having that. Read on.
And entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar.
They took away what?
The golden altar.
Come on.
And the candlesticks of light.
Come on.
And the vessels thereof. And the table of shewbread.
Come on.
And the pouring vessels. And the vials. And the censers of gold.
Come on.
And the veil. And the crowns. And the golden ornaments that were before the temple. All which were he pulled off.
Now think about this for a second. Right now we have set up a holy table with golden vessels, with censers and oil. Huh? That's what we got right here. Look at the beautiful blue cloth with the fringes and the white cloth. These things to us, we consider these things to be holy to the Lord. Like we set this up to be beautiful for the Most High. Imagine them heathens coming in here and with our Bibles pushing all this off the table. What would y'all do? Somebody gonna grab that sword, man. Somebody gonna rise up against the evildoers, man. That's what the Feast of Dedication is about. Somebody rose up against them evildoers. Because I don't think none of y'all would stand for nobody to break into the house and knock this off the table while we sitting right here. I don't think so, yo. I don't think so. We're gonna paint the walls with them.
Right.
You understand? That's what Hanukkah is about. It's when we had that backbone, man. Don't always say, put a spine in your back, Jake. There. Stand up. Well, we had brothers to do that. Go back to Daniel chapter 8, read verse 11.
Daniel chapter 8, verse 11.
Read.
Yea, he magnified himself, even to the prince of the host.
And what happened?
And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
The daily sacrifice was taken away, which means he destroyed your holy altar. He took away the golden altar and the candlesticks of light and all the vessels thereof. The daily sacrifice was taken away. Read on.
And the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
And the tables and the pouring vessels and the crowns, they were all pulled off. Daniel is saying what Maccabees is telling you happened. Daniel's the prophecy. Maccabees is the fulfillment. Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 2 verse 1. I'll jump over to that.
1 Maccabees chapter 2 verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias.
Who?
Mattathias.
Get to know these names. These are the last of your heroes, Israel. These are the last of your heroes. You ain't got no more. Who your hero now? Black Panther, you Wakanda?
Tekashi 6ix9ine and stuff.
Tekashi 6ix9ine is finished.
Gucci man.
Gucci Mane?
Yeah.
Huh? Who is your heroes? These are real heroes. These are brothers that will never sell out. And he didn't sell out. His name is Mattathias. Who is that? Let's get it up on the screen. Mattathias, 166 BCE. He is the father of the Maccabees.
The hammers.
Understand? That right there, out of his seed came mighty brothers. But it didn't last forever. Because prophecy still has to come to pass. We still got to go into slavery with ships because he just told you we was wicked. We can't get away. Don't I always say that you can't get away, man? Nobody can get away. I can't get away. They can't get away. Yeah, the Most High gonna let them show their strength, but in the end, prophecy had to be fulfilled. We had to go into slavery on ships, man, to the other side of the earth. All right. We had to do the 400 years hard bondage, get our back kicked in. We had to go out in the highways and byways and prophesy and wake up Israel and bring them back. All of that had to come to pass. We in the sad part of our history. This is the glory, y'all. The Maccabees is the glory of the history, man. Don't see these dudes as some white boys that we have no connection with. These is your brothers. These might be somebody here tonight. Understand that. Read on that.
The son of John, the son of Simeon, the priest of the sons of
However you say it, come on.
Jarib,
Come on.
from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
And what did he do?
And he had 5 sons.
He had 5 sons. John, Simon, Judas, Eleazar, Jonathan. Read on.
Verse 6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah,
The what?
the blasphemies that were committed in Judah
Come on.
and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me!
What?
Woe is me! Wherefore I was born to see the misery of my people.
Now he said, woe is me. That means death to me. Why was I even born to live to see the misery of my people? Look at the tables cast down. What's going on? But then if you go back in the first Maccabees, you have brothers saying, yo, let's join unto the heathen.
Right.
Since we left them, it's been a struggle. See the difference between a sellout and a hero? You Israelites, I don't care what camp you in. If you're going out there in the highways and the byways and teaching, you're a damn hero, man. Because guess what? Don't your family talk to you funny now? Some of y'all lost your woman. Some of y'all, your children don't talk to you. Some of y'all, your parents don't talk to you. Some of y'all, your wife don't even act right no more. She want to sleep in another room. Some of y'all, your husband, he ain't feeling you no more. Because y'all heroes, man. Y'all came back to the truth. Y'all didn't do what the heathen did because it brought you much misery when you stopped being like them. Y'all ain't go that route. God give you that respect. I don't care what camp you in. Read on now.
Wherefore I was born to see this misery of my people.
Read.
And of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
Read.
Her temple is become as a man without glory.
Give me Daniel chapter 8 and verse 12. You keep staying in Maccabees, you're going to read Daniel. I want... read the Daniel right now.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter
8 verse 12.
chapter 8 and verse 12. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and the practice and prospered.
And it practiced and prospered. It practiced, read it one more time.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 12. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
Her temple became a man without glory. Jump down to verse 12.
That was verse 12.
No, for this brother.
Verse 12.
Read.
And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it.
Yes, because what happened? The truth was stamped down to the ground, and wickedness was practiced, and it prospered. See the scriptures, man? Showing you how everything happened. This is crazy. Even reading it is like, it link up too easily. It's weird. You know, it's spiritual though. That's how you know the Bible is real. Read verse 13, all right?
Verse 13. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore.
Because look, let me hit you with something. If you knew that you was going to be relegated to being a byword and a proverb for the rest of history, instead of a glorious Israelite with your own kingdom, happy children, happy wives, happy families, with your own land, your own customs, if you knew that the result of what your temple being profaned and the heathen coming in, if you knew that what happened after, Gad going on reservations, Issachar losing all of his land, Judah being shot just for being outside breathing the air. If you knew, Haiti, damn. If you knew that was going to happen, you would say the same thing Mattathias is saying. Read it again, Art.
Verse 14. Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes.
Come on.
And put on sackcloth and mourned very sore.
Now jump down to verse 18.
Verse 18. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment.
This is what an officer is telling Mattathias to do. Come fulfill the king's commandment. Didn't Daniel tell you that Antiochus was going to practice and prosper? His wickedness, his transgression was going to be practiced and prosper. They was framing mischief by law. They was making it the law for you to be wicked as hell. You couldn't be no Jew. Being righteous was outlawed. Read on.
Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in number of the king's friends.
Now there was a reward for it. You could be the king's friend. That's enticing to you sellout jakes, man. Read verse 13, Doc.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 13.
Read.
Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to the trodden underfoot?
That is exactly what Mattathias said in verse 7. That's exactly what he said. He's the saint that said that. He said, woe is me, why was I born to see the misery of my people in my holy city and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. He basically said the exact same thing that Daniel told you the saints was going to say to each other. He said it. How can the host be trodden underfoot? How can the sanctuary be given into the hand of strangers? That's what he said. You see the prophecy fulfilled? Daniel is talking about Mattathias, man. He's telling you the temple gonna get profaned. These kings is gonna rise up. There's gonna be this notable king. He gonna practice wickedness and it's gonna work. And then one of the saints is gonna be like, yo, how long is this gonna last? You wanna say something, brother?
Yeah, Salaki.
Speak loud.
Like, the brother Adrian brought out that it's going to be brothers that we had back in that time that would try to be friends with the king, do underhanded things, and then you're bringing out that, you know, those things would work and profane the temple and all that type of stuff, which would provoke brothers to rise up and everything, which caused the temple of dedication, well, the feast of dedication. So
come together.
that's like, it's actually spoken about in 2 Maccabees chapter 4.
We going. See, these brothers is sharp, man. Okay? These brothers is sharp. They love the Bible. They study. They improve. I'll be watching it, like, learning from them, man. And that's why it's a joy to serve with them. Give me, go back to Maccabees, and I want you to read that king's friend from there.
Okay.
And thou.
This is the first book of Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse
18. And then towards the end, I want you to read, and thou.
18. And thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
And you jakes would take that. You be happy. Oh, I ain't got to do nothing but get rewarded. Where the pig feet?
They take it now. Salaki.
Bring it up.
So you see all the celebrities. They have the gold fronts. All their mouth is silver and gold and blue, whatever they call those new things they got. Just to wear some tight leggings and a dress with a purse.
Yeah.
And they promote this. Allen Iverson was actually talking about that. Back in the day, they had a dress code for the NBA. They was like, y'all not wearing all that
Right.
ghetto stuff. But they're allowing all these men to walk around like Westbrook, to walk around like a court jester. Back in the day, they used to make the court jester look like a homeless. And the court jester was a Jew. They would get a Jew to look like a homo. That's what the king would do.
That's off, man.
For fun. And that's what all these celebrities are right now.
And what is been shall be again, man. What is before shall be again. It's nothing new under the sun. You see this? Israel should be ashamed of yourself. But that's why you got to keep these feast days to remind you. You wasn't always a sellout, heathen wannabe. You used to have your own glory. Read on out.
Verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice.
Read.
Though all the nations that are under the king's dominions obey him and fall away every one from religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments,
Go ahead.
yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
Kwam Yeshua.
Kwam Yeshua.
Read on.
God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinance.
Come on.
We will not hearken to the king's words.
The hell with what the king is talking about, man. What is wrong with you? How many of our leaders can do this now? Where are they at?
On the street corner.
They got fringes on and they teaching these scriptures. These are the last leaders, man. Not them guys on television speaking for you. Right now, they would have you believe that Kanye West is your damn leader. Y'all are the leaders, you Israelites, that join a camp and go out and teach Jacob. Listen, man, you want to be an individualite? Fine. But why does your whole ministry have to be, don't be with them camps, though? Right. So your whole ministry is, don't be in them camps. That don't make no sense, man. Be a hero. Bring your people back. Read on that.
Verse 22.
Come on.
We will not hearken to the king's words, to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
Read.
Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
So now here you got this sellout, dusty back Jake. Like, well, if you're going to be super righteous, I want that reward. He coming up there with a pig, man. And you know what? I got this game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I just bought that.
That's what the dude's talking about.
And they got the graphics in the game. On all them God's altars is a big fat pig. Wow. They showing you that was their sacrifice of choice, was the swine.
Wow. But it told you also at the end of Second Maccabees how they also profaned the temples, sacrificing swine's flesh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
They tore it down.
yeah.
Yeah. Because if you read the book of Maccabees, it's not in chronological order. It's just history. Mm-hmm. So you can't read it like the beginning of a story to the end. It doesn't read like that.
Yeah.
You got to understand what you're reading.
But if you know the history, it all makes sense.
And if you know the history, it all makes sense. That's why you come on Chanakah class to learn the history.
Come on.
Read on that.
Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal.
He was what?
Inflamed with zeal.
Who else we know that got eaten up with zeal? Who else we know got eaten up with zeal and got mad? Read on now. And his reins.
And his reins trembled.
That means he lost self-control. Read on.
Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment.
He could not hide his anger. And the judgment for disrespecting the altar is death. Read.
Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
And he killed that sellout Jake right there in front of everybody. What the hell is wrong with you, man? Read on.
And also the king's commissioner.
And he killed the king's commissioner. Read.
Who compelled men to sacrifice.
He killed the dude that came down there offering the bribe. You got to die. Read.
He killed at that time. And the altar he pulled down.
And he just pulled down the whole altar because it's disgusting now. Violated the whole place. Everybody get out and go home.
Okay.
That's a real hero. That is Mattathias. When you see Mattathias, think of this account. That man ain't played no games when it came to the Most High's house. A real hero, man, in Israel. That's him at the top of the tree right up there. Mattathias. Learn that. All right? Go back to Daniel. I want you to read verse 14 and finish it out.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 14. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
So then now they gave you a prophecy that the sanctuary is going to be defiled and then it shall be cleansed. Okay? When you go into Leviticus chapter 23, there is no feast called the Feast of Dedication. It's not there.
Right.
Go to John 10 and 22. Go to John 10 and 22. Because Daniel just told you that the temple is going to be cleansed.
Salaki. I know we're not supposed to try to find out when, but when did it say it was?
2,300 days. Well, we know it's not days.
Yeah.
We know that it represents a dispensation of time.
Time, yeah.
So we're about to find out when the temple got cleansed.
Kind of,
Go ahead.
In 2 Maccabees 10?
We're going to get there.
Oh.
We got it all laid out. It's like a movie. Because the Most High set it up like that. Alright? He prophesied that the temple will be cleansed or rededicated. Let's just see if it happened though. John 10 and 22. Read.
The book of John, chapter 10, verse 22.
Bring it out.
And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication.
The what?
The feast of dedication.
If ain't no feast in the Bible in Leviticus 23 called the Feast of Dedication, why is John in chapter 10 telling you at Jerusalem it was the Feast of Dedication? You know why? Because this prophecy came to pass. There was a time when the temple was rededicated. Read on.
And it was winter.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahushua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
So Yahushua was there. And he was respecting the Feast of Dedication. Okay? I talked to a Jehovah's Witness and they said we don't deal with the apocrypha. And then I confounded them. I said, well, listen, go to John 10 and 22. Oh, the Feast of Dedication. And he was in Solomon's promenade. You know, their book reads different. Right? And I asked them, I said, where was the Feast of Dedication created? Oh, somewhere in the Old Testament. I'm sure it was there. I said, no, go. I made them go into their index. And their index brought them to the book of Maccabees. Wow. Their own index.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a cut. Damn.
Can I speak on that?
Go ahead.
The same thing happens with the Jewish people. You know, the Jewish people don't have it in their Talmud.
Right.
And they don't subscribe to the apocrypha.
Right.
But they'll tell you that it comes from, it's not written in the Old Testament or the New Testament, but comes from a series of books that was written in an intertestamentorial period.
Ah,
you know what I'm saying? And it
what
involves,
does that mean?
it involves people that were last named the Maccabees, which is Hebrew for hammer. That's what it tells you.
Basically what they're telling you is that the apocrypha is what you need to be reading.
Legit.
But we just going to tell you not to read it. And we don't know why. We mindless drones and we just follow our religion.
Question.
Go ahead.
Is there more books of the Maccabees?
I only acknowledge these because that's what the scholars gave. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you the names of the men who translated this. You understand what I'm saying? All them other books, you don't know who translated that. All them other books, you don't know where them scrolls is at. You know, you got brothers going in the books, but they cannot tell you who translated it or show me the Hebrew equivalent that you read it off of. Oh, brother, you're not going to have everything. So you entertaining spirits, man. That's why the Most High said, hold fast to that which ye already have until I come.
I think I seen like 5 books.
And I heard there's a 4th Maccabees and all that.
Yeah.
But sometimes they, like when they say 4th Ezra, they're really just talking about 2nd Esdras. Because you have Ezra in the Bible.
Yeah, that's right.
So then you get into that confusion. So we just got to stick with what the Most High gave us. Okay. I want you to read Daniel chapter 11 and verse 30, brother. Because it gets better. There's more. There's more prophecy. Daniel chapter 11 verse 30. Bring it out.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 11, verse 30. For the ships of Chittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant.
Now what is that intelligence that they had? Okay? Daniel, read it again, brother. It's hard to be understood. Read it again.
For the ships of Chisholm shall come against him.
And Chittim is Rome. Come on, Chittim.
Shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant.
Come on.
So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant.
And now they had intelligence, right? Give me 2 Maccabees 3 and 9. Let's see that intelligence that they had. 2 Maccabees 3 and 9. We're going to bounce around. 2 Maccabees 3 and 9. Let's see the intelligence that they had.
This is
I forgot.
I got it if I can read it.
Okay, this is 2 Maccabees chapter 3 verse 9.
Read.
And when he was come to Jerusalem,
Come on.
and he had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what the intelligence was given of the money.
The what?
The intelligence was given of the money.
Daniel is telling you that that was going to happen. Read it. Will you read that what you had again? Go right to the point.
He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant.
Read it again what you have.
He told him what intelligence was given of the money,
Come on.
and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed.
See that, man? See that how everything is linking up, even down to the word, the precept. Now remember, the apocrypha is written in Latin. When you coming out of Daniel, you read in Aramaic, but that's the same word, that intelligence, man. They can't get around it. The Most High is telling you that this links up. It's the same account. Them Romans came back, now they was trying to deal with the temple's money, man. When you, even after they rededicated the temple, the wickedness came back. Brothers had to fight again. As many wars that the Maccabees had to fight. They was a warrior family. When Mattathias, oh my God. When Mattathias passed, his sons carried on the rest of them wars. They had to fight too, man. He had a different battle than them. Okay? Keep reading.
Verse 31. An arm shall... this is the book of Daniel, chapter 11, verse 31.
Read.
An arm shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolation.
So now they're going to take down the daily sacrifice, because Daniel's still prophesying about this time where the temple's going to be profaned. They're going to take down the daily sacrifice, and they're going to put up what? The abomination that maketh desolate. Go to 2 Maccabees chapter 6, read verse 1. 2 Maccabees 6 and 1, read.
The second Maccabees 6 and 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers.
Come on.
And not to live after the laws of God. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem.
And to do what?
And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem.
What does it say here, brother, that's going to happen? Read verse 13 again.
31.
Yes, Salaki, 31.
An arm shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute.
And they shall what?
Pollute.
Read what you got, Eliel.
And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem.
This is Daniel in Aramaic, thousands of years. This is Latin. It's the same thing. They polluted the temple. Yes, a man came talking about, yo, we want you to pollute the temple. How do they want you to pollute the temple? Continue reading. Maccabees.
So like you.
Verse 2.
And to pollute the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius.
Did they want to put Zeus in there? A statue of Zeus in there. Read on.
And that in Garzium of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place.
They want to put an idol in there of Jupiter, which is Zeus. They want to put and he's the defender of strangers. The hell is this? The X-Men?
John 3:16 spirit.
Yeah, man.
What temple was this? Which, or like, what was this?
This was our holy temple. Like, this is where the Jews went to worship.
This was the first temple.
The second temple. Okay, because the third temple has not been. I don't believe the third temple has been built yet. Some people say we are the
It's in
third.
the
Third
works.
temple.
Yeah,
Well, I know those fake ones trying to.
Donald Trump's trying to build it.
Those fake Jews trying to build a third temple.
Listen,
They
man.
have
You
a
think the
floor
Most High
plan
gonna let them build that? Really?
I hope not.
They could build a building that could, 5,000 people could work in under 2 months. Why they not done with that fake temple? Because the Most High don't want them building that. Go ahead.
And that's why I believe that they're trying to build a physical temple, a third temple, to claim this is where he's going to dwell. But they don't realize that the third temple is us. He's rebuilding his children, us.
Yeah, no,
And
not
they
that
also-
your body is the temple of the Lord, right? But that's a spiritual breakdown. But I believe that we will have a physical temple
Yeah,
to
but also-
worship our God in the kingdom.
I'm just lucky. The place that they built their temple, or that they're trying to build their temple, isn't actually the place that the temple were actually built.
That's
Like that temple is still desolate.
Right.
You could go there and actually see that temple still.
Right.
So,
It's a museum.
no, it's just there.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, well, they argue and say that this is Solomon's temple where they got this big plateau. They be up there sticking letters in the wall and humping the wall
That's
and
a long
waving,
place.
waving chickens around their head. Yo, Amalek is finished!
Finish.
That's not the right place.
Yeah, that was just a question I had, like trying to figure out, like, the temples that they're trying to, like, rebuild now, are they in the same location as the temples of here?
I mean, we don't even know, man. It's a lot of things we don't know. Like, we don't know where the ark is at. Maccabees told you that Jeremiah hid the ark and didn't even let nobody follow him to see where he put it. So to this day, the ark is hidden.
So like in Ethiopia is trying to claim that they have the ark.
That go against the Bible.
Yeah,
When the
exactly.
scriptures tell you,
Because Zephaniah.
man, listen,
Right.
man. That's why when we study, you realize the lies we've been told, man. When we study, you realize the lies. Like, there's no way that none of that what they're saying is true. And we still got to study more. You see what I'm saying? But look how much the Most High is showing us thus far. Go back.
How can you have the Ark of the Covenant and not be the Word of God?
Well, first of all, only the Levites are supposed to be able to touch that.
Right.
So you gonna tell me? Yeah.
You would die.
I mean, they made a whole movie about it, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and when they opened it, all of them Nazis died, telling you that they not the people, and Esau knows that.
Fact.
Didn't that wipe with this?
You know they're gonna put their fabrication in it. You know they're gonna do that. He's the father of the lie, man. Go back to Maccabees, read verse 3, 6 and 3.
Second Maccabees chapter 6 verse 3.
Come on.
The coming in of the mischief was sore and grievous to the people.
Because look, give me Acts 14 and 11. Because we've been having idols where it's really supposed to be Yahweh is supposed to be worshipped. You can find that in the Bible, in the New Testament. Read that. What was the people worshiping there?
14:11.
I think that's what I want. I believe that's what I want. If I'm wrong, I got another precept in Acts that I might be
People
it.
saw what Paul had done, and they lift up their voices, saying in the speech of
21:21. Yeah, Acts 21:21.
Acts 21.
No, I said 14 and 11, right?
Yeah.
The 21, 20. That's
and the people
Oh yeah.
14:11.
14:11.
and the people saw what
Read it aloud. Read it aloud. Here I got right here.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 14, verse 11.
Read.
And the people saw what Paul had done. They lifted up their voices, saying the speech of Lycaonia.
Read it the best you can. Just say it straight through.
And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men.
See, these people still idol worshiping. Look, read on. What they say.
And they called Barnabas Jupiter.
They would call him Barnabas Jupiter. These people want to worship Jupiter so bad. They would call him Barnabas Jupiter. Read on.
And Paul Mercurius.
They was calling Paul Mercury. They want to worship their gods so bad, man. So what they telling you in the Maccabees, when they came to pollute the temple, they wanted to call it the Temple of Jupiter. That's lining up. They still was doing it. What's up, Ak?
in astrology now, they call the planet Jupiter itself the defender of strangers.
See that? There you go. The history lines up, man.
Yeah.
Keep reading that Maccabees. And give me Acts 21:21.
Verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful.
They turned the temple into a whorehouse. You see what Jake was doing? After Matthias in the past just cut somebody down for worshiping, for bringing up the wrong sacrifice. They went right back to the wickedness after his death. Now they having whorehouses in the temple, man. This is how they moving. Give me Acts 21:21.
Come on. This is the book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 21. And they inform of thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after their customs. What is it, therefore? The multitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men which have a vow on them.
Okay, that's going into something else. I had that precept written there to make a different point. That's not what I wanted. Read verse 5, and then I'm going to get the precept I want. Get Ephesians 2:11. Read verse 5.
Maccabees?
Yeah.
This is, okay, verse 5. The altar was also filled with profane things, which the law forbid.
The altar was filled with profane things which the law forbid. Read that Ephesians.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 11.
Bring it out.
Wherefore remember that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh.
Now you was in times past Gentiles. This is a stumbling block scripture. Read the next verse in Maccabees.
Verse 6. 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Antiochus did that. Read that Ephesians again.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh.
Because what? It was unlawful to get circumcised, to keep the feast, or to even call yourself a Jew. Antiochus did that. This has nothing to do with the heathen. This whole Bible is talking to Israel. You understand? Unbelievable how we forget these things, man. Unbelievable, man. That's prophecy fulfilled, though. You see the prophecy coming to pass. Jump back to Daniel.
1 Corinthians.
Oh, read 1 Corinthians 12:2. Go ahead.
This is 1 Corinthians 12:2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Come on.
Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calls Yahweh cursed.
Now look, you was carried away unto dumb idols. We just read it in the Maccabees. Y'all brothers, hold it down. Stay in order. The smoke, don't light no more.
Yeah.
Okay.
We was trying.
The book of Maccabees just told you how you was carried away to dumb idols. Yes, in the past you was carried away through slavery and bondage, but what happened again? They got you setting up Jupiter in your temple. The people so carried away to idols, they call him Barnabas Jupiter, and they call him Paul Mercury. People bugging out. They so deep into their idolatry. You see what I'm saying?
Speaking of that, they basically named all those Greek gods, or what we know as planets now. They were basically like Greek gods. All your what you call them signs,
Zodiac.
those are all Greek gods. Those are all stuff that they worship.
Yeah, that spirit is in the earth today. That spirit is still in the earth today, man. All right. Now finish Daniel. Go back to 32. Daniel 11:32. Pick it up from right there. I hope y'all see how you're literally watching how you stopped being an Israelite and other people came in there. I just hope y'all understand that. Go ahead, Doc.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploit.
Exploits, meaning great deeds.
Yes.
According to the history of Antiochus Epiphanes was a great deal maker. And one of the ways that he won over his opponents was through flattery. They called him a smooth talker, a great negotiator and speaker. What is Daniel telling you? Read that again, Doc.
Book of Daniel, chapter 11, verse 32.
Bring that out.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flattery.
By how?
Flattery.
That's what he was doing. The Bible told you not the Bible, history tells you that that's his actual character. And the Bible is telling you the man gonna use flattery. How can you get around that? When you got secular history lining up with Bible prophecy, that's crazy. I mean, even down to the man's personality. Under Antiochus Epiphanes, the temple was profane. Wickedness came into our holy sanctuary. This whole table, just think of it as some dusty redback heathen with no shirt on, smelling like mud. Just imagine he came here and flipped this whole table and spit on you. That's what happened. It's unimaginable, but that's how you lost your heritage, Israel. That's exactly how it happened. You had people amongst you willing to just give it away. Read on out.
But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
Now the people that do know their God, they're going to be strong. Who are those people that know their God? It's the Maccabees. They're going to do great deeds. I'm going to give you the history of the Maccabees. I can't tell you about all these generals and all that madness and not teach you who the Maccabees are. Okay? Number one, you have Mattathias. Okay? He's the father. Mattathias does not have Maccabee after his name. Did you notice that? We call them the Maccabees, but there was really only one that was surnamed Maccabee. Mattathias refused to serve the idols, remember? And he killed that sellout Jew. He defended the temple. Killed the guy that came in and brought the decree. He was that man. What's up, brothers?
No,
Okay. I can hear y'all. Just go ahead.
I was trying to get charging.
Trying to be quiet.
Oh, my Bible. Okay. That's Mattathias. Mattathias had a son. One of his sons, I'm going to give you the notable sons. All right, the relevant ones, and you can study the other ones. One of his sons was called Simon. Simon is the son of Mattathias. He was elected leader when his brother Jonathan was captured. Okay? He was called Simon the Wise. Give me 1 Maccabees 15:1. Just a little history on Simon. Brothers, just plug the joint in. You can plug it in my computer.
Okay.
1 Maccabees 15:1. Read that. You just learned about Simon now. You learned about Mattathias. We read his account. Now this is where, write this down. This is where Simon's history is at. 1 Maccabees 15:1.
1 Maccabees chapter 15 and verse 1.
Read.
Moreover, Antiochus, son of Demetrius, the king sent letters from the isles of the sea unto Simon, the priest, and the prince of the Jews, and to all the people.
So Simon was a priest and prince of the Jews. Okay, read verse 2.
Verse 2. The contents whereof were these. King Antiochus to Simon, the high priest and prince of the nation, and to the people of the Jews greetings.
See, Simon was called the high priest and prince of the nation. That's Simon. That's your brother. Next, you got Jonathan. Okay? Jonathan was a high priest. He defeated a general named Apollonius. He defeated him. Jonathan was also a warrior. Strong fighter. Simon became leader after Jonathan got captured. So Jonathan was before Simon in rank. Okay? Let's learn about Simon. Give me 1 Maccabees 10 and 67. I'm Slakia. Let's learn about Jonathan. 1 Maccabees 10 and 67.
This is 1 Maccabees chapter 10, verse 67.
Read.
Furthermore, in the 165th year.
1 Maccabees 10. You're right. I'm wrong. Go ahead.
1 Maccabees chapter 10, verse 67. Furthermore, in the 165th year came Demetrius, son of Demetrius, out of Crete in the land of his fathers. Whereof, when King Alexander heard tell, he was right sorry, and returned into Antioch.
Come on.
Then Demetrius made Apollonius the governor of Cilicia his general.
Come on.
Who gathered together a great host and encamped in Germania.
Come on.
And sent into Jonathan the high priest, saying.
See, Jonathan was high priest. He was high priest before his brother Simon. Okay? Go ahead.
Thou alone liftest up thyself against us, and I am laughed to scorn for thy sake, and reproached. And why dost thou vaunt thy power against us in the mountains?
Now see, Jonathan fought a style called guerrilla warfare. That's where you got it from. The Maccabees, man. Fighting you out of the wilderness, man. Catching you slipping somewhere. He said, I'm being laughed to scorn because of you. Because he was taking losses to Jonathan's men. Jonathan was a priest and a warrior.
That's right.
These is your brothers. Jump down to verse 78.
Verse 78. Then Jonathan followed after him to Azotus,
Come on.
where the armies joined battle.
Read.
Now Apollonius had left 1,000 horsemen in ambush,
Go ahead.
and Jonathan knew that there was an ambushment behind
So
him,
he was a great general in his own right. Come on.
for they had compassed in his host and cast darts at the people from morning till evening.
Read.
But the people stood still as Jonathan commanded them, and so the enemy's horses were tired.
So they see, yo, that guerrilla warfare, we in ambush, baby. We gonna catch you slipping, Esau. Read on.
Then brought Simon forth his host,
So his brother Simon showed up. Go ahead.
and set them against the footmen, for the horsemen were spent, who were discomfited by him and
He
fled.
caused them to retreat. Jonathan's style of warfare caused the enemy to retreat. Because the horsemen, cavalry is dangerous. They up higher than you. They're moving way quicker than you can deal with. The horse is it's a war horse, so he'll trample you. Okay? You're not on the ground with me fighting me. You're up on a big war horse swinging down at me, moving so fast that I can't deal with you. It's very difficult to deal with cavalry. So he let the cavalry get tired. And then he went to battle. The Most High showed him that. Read on.
The horsemen also, being scattered in the field, fled to Azotus, and went into Beth-dagon, their idol's temple, for safety.
So now they ran into one of their idols' temples to try to hide. But Jonathan wasn't having that. Read on.
But Jonathan set fire on Azotus, and the cities round about it, and took their spoils,
Right.
and the temples of Dagon with them that were fled into it. He burned with fire.
That's Jonathan, man. Alright? That's your forefather. He wasn't trying to be down with the heathen. He was putting the heathen to death. He was making the heathen run away. The Most High says when his spirit comes on us, they're going to flee 7 ways. You thought he was lying? We got to come back to our nationality, y'all. We got to get back in this Bible. We got to stop beefing with each other over little stuff. We got to stop this. Y'all not with me, so y'all wicked. We're better than you. Don't talk to them. No. We all a great army. Together, we a great army. Your differences is petty. I believe the Sabbath is this day. I believe that you observe this feast on this day. Is that a reason for us not to fight together as warriors? The nations are confederate against you, but you got beef with this man because his camp is a different name? You don't like this brother so much because he believes in he breaks down a scripture different than you? That you forgot that y'all was an army together, man. So you reading the last time that we realized that we was a fighting force together. You reading the last example. When you gonna wake up, Israel? The Bible says, Israel, thou hast destroyed thyself, man. When you gonna wake up? That's brother Jonathan that we just read about. Drop that, and we're gonna get to the next notable son, Judas Maccabeus. The name Maccabeus is Hebrew for hammer, because in the war he dealt hammer-like blows. You're not blocking that. You gotta move out the way. You can't block that. Fearsome warrior with the spirit of the Lord on him. Probably was one of David's mighty men in the reincarnation. This feast of dedication, the Maccabees you're learning of, the reason they are called the Maccabees is because of this man, Judas. He was surnamed Maccabee. You understand? Give me 1 Maccabees 3 and 1. We're going to learn about Judas. Judas Maccabees. Not the Judas that betrayed our Lord for 30 pieces of silver, then regretted it and went and hung himself. Not that guy. This is Judas Maccabees, man. 1 Maccabees 3 and 1. Read that.
This is 1 Maccabees 3 and 1. Then his son Judas, called Maccabees, rose up in his stead.
See, they just told you he was called Maccabees. He's the one that was surnamed Maccabees. It's the book of Maccabees, but he's the one that earned the name. Brother Judas. Read on.
And all his brethren helped him.
And his brothers helped him. Go ahead.
And so did all they that held with his father. And they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel.
They was happy to fight together, man. It wasn't no, don't talk to them brothers. They not with us. The Most High is going to kill them brothers because they don't see that we believe this doctrine and they don't believe it like we believe it. The Most High going to kill them. Don't talk to them. If it's not of us, it's not of the truth. And so you can't be with them other brothers. We're not even going to salute them on the Sabbath. When we see them in the parking lot, we're not even going to salute them. You know what I'm talking about. Slakia for getting upset. But that's stupid, man. You see brothers in the parking lot and they won't even salute you, man. But the Bible says Israel fought with cheerfulness together. That's why you ain't got no kingdom right now, Jake. You forgot you're supposed to have that indignation towards the heathen. And you're supposed to have love and long suffering towards your brother. But you're so quick to cast them damn stones. Talking about the law, brother. Quick to cast them stones, man. Learn the scriptures first. Read on, man.
This is
Verse 3.
So he got his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant.
Yeah.
And girt his warlike hardness about him. And he made battles, protecting the host of his sword.
Jump down to verse 21. Read that.
This is verse 21. But we fight for our lives and our laws.
Now, what, we fight for what?
We fight for our lives and our laws.
Come on.
Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them.
I'll follow that man into war, man. He talk like that, I'm going. He talking like that. That's your brother, Judas Maccabees, man. All right? So those are the notable sons. Okay? Now here's something that's just a tidbit for you to understand. Out of Simon, if you follow Simon Maccabee's lineage all the way down, there's a man called John Hyrcanus that comes out of him. Okay? And if you go down out of that, another man named Hyrcanus. I believe John Hyrcanus was the one that made Esau by threat of death keep the commandments. He subdued the Edomites at one point and said, y'all gonna serve the Most High and learn this Bible and do our laws. None of this Jupiter, none of that. That's when Esau started to keep the customs of Israel. That's when they converted. But look what happened.
Right.
Look what happened. Watch how the family tree goes all the way down. Who's that right there on the right that got no line connected to him? Herod. He's an Edomite, a Herodian. Since all that time, Esau was learning how to keep our commandments. But when the Most High brought us down and took us out of power, who took over when the Romans set them up? Who took over? Knowing how to front like they was us. The Herodians. And that's around the time of Christ. That's when the white man became the Jew. You see the history right there. You learn that on Chanakah. Alright? I know the people on the call can't see the graph. But we're going to edit the video and then be able to watch it and see the graph. Under Herod is when the Edomites took our heritage and fronted like the temple belonged to them. And they still got it to this day. And they over there smelling funky with weird haircuts. Got all the world's wealth and money. And they don't want to pay for it. They don't want to move out of the way and say, oh, no, they realize in their history, let's remember that we converted. Let's give them back their history because we love their God too. No, they hope you never learn this. Okay? We almost out of here, Israel. I know y'all saying, damn, this lesson's going long. How do you not want to learn this? You gotta want to know this. Well, let's get up out of here. 2 Maccabees chapter 10. 2 Maccabees chapter 10. Second Maccabees chapter 10. I want you to start at verse 6.
This is 2 Maccabees chapter 10 verse 6.
No, start at verse 1, man. We're not cutting no corners. Go ahead.
Verse 1. Now Maccabeus and his company, the Lord guiding them, recovered the temple and the city.
They did what?
Recovered the temple and the city.
At one point, Maccabees, when his victorious exploits, we recovered the temple and our city, man. Read on.
But the altars which the heathen had built in the open street, and also the chapels, they pulled down.
And we pulled down all the heathen chapel buildings and construction. We destroyed them. Get all these idols out of our city. Get all these profane things, these abominations of desolation. Let's remove them. Go ahead.
And having cleansed the temple, they made another altar. And striking stones, they took fire out of them, and offered a sacrifice after 2 years, and set forth incense and lights and shewbread.
So they put incense and lights and showbread. Don't we got that here tonight, y'all? We got that here tonight, man. Alright? Got some to come here. You understand? The Bible told you that they was going to rededicate this temple. They said that it was going to be clean. Right? The Most High said after a time, the temple will be clean. But it's not for a time appointed. Alright? Let's read it one more time to remind the people the prophecy.
Oh, Salakia. While we said that they had shewbread, the Jewish people don't eat any type of bread or anything like that. Jewish people they don't use bread on Hanukkah.
Because they some damn heathens.
Rabbi, what's his name? Rabbi Mordecai Becker was sure to say that when he was explaining Hanukkah. So yeah, that they don't use any type of bread or dairy products, nothing like that.
That's all. Read that again. Read Daniel 8 and 14. And stay where you at.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 14. He said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed.
Read what you just read again.
And having cleansed the temple.
And what?
And having cleansed the temple.
This is the prophecy fulfilled, man. Under Judas Maccabees, he cleansed the temple. Go ahead.
They made another altar. And striking stones, they took fire out of them, and offered a sacrifice after 2 years.
Read on.
And set forth incense and lights and shewbread.
Read on.
When that was done, they fell flat down, and besought the Lord that they might come no more into such trouble. But if they sinned any more against him, that he would chasten them with mercy, that they might not be delivered unto the blasphemous and barbarous nations.
Now, well, look at his prayer. He said, listen, Most High, listen. If we sin against you again, can you please not let the heathen do the punishing? Can you yourself punish us? Don't turn us over to them heathens no more, please. That was his prayer. Please don't do that. Anything but that, turning us over to them heathens. We'd rather you just punish us. Read on that.
Come. Verse 5. Now upon the same day that the strangers profaned the temple, on the very same day it was cleansed again, even the 25th day of the same month, which is Caslu.
And that's what the month we're in now. The 9th month. The 25th day of the 9th month. Called Caslu. Or Kislev.
Yeah, Caslu.
Alright? That's why we're having this feast right now. Because it's the 25th day of the month. Since our last new moon, 25 days. And we're in the 9th month. Isn't it November? See how Esau tried to change dates and times? He got you in December, which represents 10, but that's the 12th month. He got you in September, which represents 7, but that's the 9th month.
Got you in October.
October, which represents 8, but that's the 9th month. The 10th month. He bugged you out. He changed the date. They said it. They will seek to change times and laws. He changed the day so you can't even serve your God in the right season. But guess what? We studied this Bible and we figured it out. We came back to our heritage. The Most High lifted us what? Out of the dunghill and set us among princes. I love that scripture. 1 Samuel 2 and 8, I believe. He lifted us up and set us among princes. Why? Because he gave us our heritage back. I told you this lesson is long, but it's good.
John.
Keep reading on the Maccabees.
Second Maccabees,
Verse 6.
Yeah, chapter 10, verse 6. And they kept the 8 days with gladness, as in the feast of the tabernacles.
Read.
Remembering that not long afore they had held the feast of tabernacles, when they were wandered in the mountains and dens like beasts.
Didn't we just have Feast of Tabernacles? It's linking up. We just, not long before, we have Feast of Tabernacles. We was out there in the tents, serving the Most High. Read on.
Therefore they bare branches, and fair bows, and palms also, and sang psalms unto him that had given them good success in cleansing his place.
So we cleansed the temple, man. We brought the palms out, just like the Feast of Tabernacles. We celebrated the same way with the palms and the branches, you know, to commemorate. And we sang psalms. The prophet, Salaki, the scholars say the psalms that we sang was Psalms chapter 30. Can you read that for me, brother? Psalms chapter 30. This is what, write this down. This is the psalm they said they believed the Maccabees spoke. Psalms chapter 30. All right? What does Maccabees mean? Khan.
Psalms 30 and
Just start at verse 1. Brother Kanal, go read that.
Everybody got it?
Khan.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 30 and verse 1.
Read the preface.
A psalm and song at the dedication of the house of David.
A psalm for what? Dedication. What does Hanukkah mean?
Dedication.
That link up, man. See how that link up smooth? Read on now.
The Lord my helper.
Come on.
I will exalt thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up, and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me.
Ain't that what the Maccabees did? They fought their enemies. Their enemies had no joy. Their enemies was complaining. Yo, because of y'all, people are laughing me to scorn. Y'all destroying my army. You simple Israelites. How dare you beat me at something? Judas was like, I ain't done yet. I'm burning you up, man. What you think? I think that was Jonathan Slocky. What you think this is, man? I ain't finished with you. Guerrilla warfare style. Read on.
O my Lord, my God, O Lord, my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness.
Come on.
For his anger endureth but a moment. In his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning.
Y'all heard that before. My joy cometh in the morning. That's from this psalm. Keep reading. Go ahead.
And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved.
Come on.
Lord, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled.
Come on.
I cried to thee, O Lord, and unto the Lord I made supplication.
Read.
What profit is there in my blood when I go down in the pit?
Come on.
Shall the dust praise thee? Shall it declare thy truth?
Look at how David talks sweet to the Most High. Well, the prophet is letting me die. How is the dust gonna pray to you, Lord? How is the dust gonna sing to you? You gonna let me die? That's how you talk to the Most High, man. You be creative, man. He tired of hearing that same prayer. That's why his spirit is not with the heathen reading them 50 Hail Marys. Vain, Yahushua said, don't do that vain repetition, because he knows his father don't like that. He wants you to put effort into it. How did Moses have to save the Israelites? He had to talk slick. Yo, if you kill them, they just gonna say that you let them save them from Egypt so you could kill them out here. You don't want that now, do you? Like the Most High, I like that. I'm gonna let you get that. All right, go ahead. Read on now.
Hear, O Lord, and have mercy upon me.
Come on.
Lord, be thou my helper.
Come on.
Thou hast turned from me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness.
What happened when they saw the temple profane? What the brothers put on? They put on sackcloth and ripped their clothes. You see how I link up? Read on.
To the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever.
Amen. Y'all agree? Amen.
Amen.
All right. So with that, I want everybody to say Ashar,
Ashar,
Yawam,
Yawam,
Yahawada,
Yahawada,
Makbah,
Makbah,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Chanakah.
chanakah.
We just said happy feast of the Maccabees, of Judas Maccabees, and we also said happy feast of dedication. It's the same thing, right? Because the Maccabees is the ones who brought you this feast. That is why Yahushua was on Solomon's porch during the feast of dedication, because the Maccabees fulfilled Daniel's prophecy and rededicated the temple. Khan? And with that, we're going to sign off. We're going to do our prayers. You shut that down for the Salaki, the water. Good lesson, brothers. Good job, brothers.